them safe and strong, and all the families who have recently lost loved ones through this holiday season, just be with them. It's just a really tough time to have to go through that. And we also continue to ask for prayers for our language and our culture and our history. And then also a prayer for the tribal council and their travels. And we just ask you to be with them and their families at this time. Komiate.
Thank you, Carol. And as you all know, our President Jimmy Carter passed, and they've dedicated today to Jimmy Carter. So I ask for just a few moments of silence for Jimmy Carter. President Carter did a lot. Thank you for that. We have minutes from January 7th. Motion by Len to approve the minutes with corrections. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, question on when George Ducharme came in. Do we need to put anything about the skate park in that discussion? I'm just wondering. I'm not sure that it should be or shouldn't be. I'm just wondering if someone reads the minutes, they're not going to exactly know. Oh, I guess it is. I'm sorry, it is where the skate park is located. Never mind. I now second the motion.
Motion by Len, second by James to approve the January 7th minutes. All in favor? Unanimous with Jimmy out of the room. We have an agenda for today. Are there any additions? Carol, Jane?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, in executive, probably towards the end of the day.
And we do have one walk-in.
And that'll be an executive?
Plan. Anything else? I'd entertain a motion. Motion by Tom to approve the agenda with additions. Second by Jennifer. All in favor? We're unanimous with Jimmy out of the room. We'll go out of regular into executive. Question I will is if we want to have that as Carol suggested. can we just wait till Tuesday? And have it basically an agenda item on Tuesday? We won't, it'll be an agenda item. Well,
There should be a packet of everything that we need to.
Working on that right now.
I need you to state exactly what you want as the motion.
I would like to place, the organizational discussion on a 5-day rule and come to a decision soon. I can say Tuesday, but do we hold our feet to the fire without two people still not knowing the whole story yet or being a part of this discussion?
I appreciate that. I think they should be part of the discussion. yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna make some sort of decision about the present organization in 5 days. Motion by Carol, second by Len, all in favor? Unanimous. And let's get Ruth in. Come on up, Ruth. Come on up. I think it's already 9:40. Good morning.
Just hit the wrong button.
And
All right,
Jennifer-
thank you.
Jennifer, am I in the waiting room on Zoom? My computer says I am. You just gave up? Oh, okay. Maybe not. January 9th. That's today, right? Again.
All right. Ah, there we are.
Go ahead, Ruthie.
Okay, very good. Try to get our screen. Oh, okay, there it is. All right, good morning, council. First part of the request is to request approval to purchase capital equipment. The NRD Division of Environmental Protection, they have transferred the Disaster Emergency Services Coordinator position from forestry into that division. So unfortunately, last year, the vehicle that we had acquired for that position 2 years prior was totaled in an accident. So we're seeking to replace that vehicle with the current year budget. We don't need an increase because we'll make it from within the currently allocated budget for that. The procurement policy does require approval because this is a new request.
Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the accident that caused the car or the truck's unfortunate demise was the fault of our employee then?
I don't know that.
There was no insurance from the other vehicle or?
I don't not know that either. Sometimes it depends on what you're asking, the nature of the accident as to whether it's going to be a covered claim. Because some vehicles that are total, we do have insurance proceeds for those. At this stage, I don't know if that's applicable, but it would certainly be applied toward the cost of any purchase. Regardless, we do have the funding available in the 1.5 million capital equipment budget for this year. Because we do allow for contingencies that are pretty much like of this sort here.
Motion by
Here's the
Tom to go
specifications.
forward with the capital purchase. Second by Jennifer. All in favor? Unanimous, and I do hope we can find out if there's insurance.
We certainly will. Council, the next issue is to approve a resolution that approves modification 4 to the fiscal 25 total allocations. We are bringing forward unspent prior year general fund money that was accumulated under the license plate proceeds. Our former SKQ dam license plate generated, received fees that people paid to renew. We received just under $24,000 in total income from that project. And it ended after fiscal 20 because they had to discontinue the plate for lack of sales, I believe. So Tribal Education Department continues to spend that for scholarships. The amount remaining unspent is included in that general fund increase that you're going to see on the resolution. We also have some adjustments in BIA Compact. We received an award for the Tribal Defenders of $338,000 to add staff to their program in anticipation of their increased workload. And the final one is in contracts and grants. It looks like a really hefty increase there, particularly in government services of 33 million. What this is actually doing is posting our obligations for ARPA. We had not posted them yet, and so we needed to do that to reflect that we have obligated those funds. So it's not a new funding, it's funding we've already been paid, but we're now placing it within that allocation for those functions. So the total increase after the general fund, the Indian Affairs and contracts and grants is 36.3 million. We increase our total allocations. Oh, and we're also bringing forward some small increases in the tribal earmark programs, $160,000. So the total increase allocations are now 320,579,439.
Motion by James, approve the modification. Second by Jimmy, all in favor? Question? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Patty, good to see you.
Come on up, Joe. Good morning.
Introduced her.
You didn't cheer loud enough, man.
Yeah, Bobcat trivia, how many championships do they have? Oh, sorry, Joe.
I had high hopes
So did we all.
that I would come in. I have this giant hand going #1, blue and gold. I thought I could bring that in today to share with you, but they don't have one that has #2.
A peace sign.
It was so cold at that game. I don't know if you watched, but we made it on TV and we found ourselves because we had bought some polar fleece blankets, some of those little, and stuffing them in my coats and my jackets to try to stay warm. But my granddaughter seen me on TV because she's seen our blankets. It was a lot of fun.
Glad you go.
Yeah. We'll be in Nashville next year, so I'll put that leave request in early. Good morning, Mr. Chair and Tribal Council members. This is a follow-up to a conversation we had last week about planning for and supporting the legislation to continue Medicaid as it is. So we submitted the resolution that we talked about last week, so we just need action on that resolution that we will begin sharing with partner agencies, legislators, and kind of part of our strategy to support, Medicaid expansion.
Motion by Tom to support the resolution, approve the resolution, I should say. Second by Carol. All in favor? Unanimous.
And Carol and Jennifer, I believe Anna maybe have already been in contact to create some support. You're gonna be over at Helena next week? Or the
I'll be
following?
there on Monday for the testimony, and Jennifer, I think, is gonna do the 20th, right?
So Anna will work on some. Okay, perfect. You've made contact with Anna. Should I have her reach out to you? Okay, okay, perfect.
No, only other question I had is that contract to modify that one grant for Samantha.
I haven't got a feedback from Samantha yet. As soon as I can, I've asked her to kind of close that loop today. I should have something for you this afternoon.
The only worry I had is the reduction of the amount of money. So.
Yep. That was the question I asked.
Go ahead, Carol.
I understand there's a chance that Darby Leffler might want to come back, I heard, and I would, he'd be a great person to take over that program, because I know Dr. Pitts is getting older, but hate to say that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of that he wants to share at this point, but
Motion by Len to approve the minutes from, what day is this? May 30th. Yeah, we're not open yet. Second by James. All in favor? Unanimous with Jimmy out of the room. We'll go out of regular into executive. James?
Motion to approve and accept the audit.
Motion by Jane, second by Jimmy. All in favor? We're good. Unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple other items that we put on the agenda to request was for a request to waive the Indian preference fee for the upcoming West Paulson development. Rough number, high level numbers is probably the most extreme version of it. We're anticipating a project construction around $25 million with a 3% Indian preference fee. That puts it about a $750,000 that is going to be added to that cost. If the council would consider waiving that fee, we could potentially put more scope back into this project development.
Thoughts? Len?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd certainly support that. I think to put more into the facility would be great.
Any other thoughts?
Wouldn't probably need an action on that. I'd make the motion to waive the 3% IPO fee for SK Gaming's Polson West project.
Is that action for the shareholder or is that action for tribal council? I think so. And so I think when we go out as shareholder, we'll consider that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item then that we would like to talk is just to get an update on the Class 3 comp, but not so much an update. I've had a couple of meetings with the tribe's legal department. We included a meeting with the Montana Lottery Department. We just want to get, discuss any expectations, the business model, really timelines for specifically the $1 million raffle. We just like a little better understanding of what the council expects from us, and so we could execute. I do think there are going to be some challenges to get something by the July 2025 timeline. Just want to put that one out there early.
Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know a lot of us get excited when we see something like that. And so I know Melissa was excited herself, but certainly knowing and having the opportunity to speak with the state folks and talking about programs that they laid out. And in particular, not just the little scratch cards, but the Montana Millionaire whole program takes years to build up. And certainly, it looked to me like an opportunity that presented itself that was very successful. So what I look at is things are very successful and very rewarding and profitable. And to look at what the state's doing right now in that arena looks extremely easy and profitable, but there's a lot of legwork that goes into that and a lot of work to get to that point. And so the opportunity was to provide some similar type of a gaming opportunity for the tourists coming through here in the peak season, not the winter season where you have this kind of unique drawing or 50-50 or whatever you want to call that Montana Millionaire program. Why wouldn't we steal what they have and provide it in the middle of the summer during our celebration events and see what we can get out of it? Now, what the guaranteed purse could be anything. It's just a matter of building it up, making it marketable, giving it something where people are actually going to buy a raffle ticket. So I think it's just a starting point. It gives us a point to start from. And my expectation, it'd be wonderful if there was something this summer, but I don't expect that to happen. That would be a very optimal thing. And to say it's $1 million purse, I would be very amazed at that. But it certainly is, whatever it takes us to build a program. It's just another tool or opportunity for SK Gaming to look at how we could do it. That's the way I look at it. So I wouldn't demand or expect it how we would draw those tourists in on something unique, how we would advertise it, and within our tribal establishments on the reservation, and how we grab those Highway 93 visitors and get something out of them. It's just another simple little game, I think, that looks to be very profitable. So that's the way I look at it. And that's just me. So I don't know if I was a major gambler trying to do it or not. I think it's genius what they're doing. I just really do. I mean, my goodness, look what they just did. And it's sold out in 2 hours.
Yeah.
$5 million worth of purchases in 2 hours. And those are all primarily Montana residents. It's not out of state people buying that. It's just incredible. Amazing.
Other thoughts? Brian?
I could just say it's, me personally speaking, it's a relief not to have to try to stand this business up by this summer. So thank you for the insight. And I think we'll discuss more on the board level.
Go ahead, Tom.
And Mr. Chair, so their main staff person came to our meeting. Of course, their political appointee that runs gaming was there with the lieutenant governor, lieutenant governor. She's really in charge. But he was saying he was going to retire, I think, in September. The Montana Lottery main administrator. Was it Brian? That was his name, Brian?
It's a bomb.
I can't quite remember. I wrote his name down. Carol grabbed his name and phone number for us, but he was very open. I mean, he wanted to help us as much as possible. And, he could be, I think, a good support for whatever we want to do. I asked them, are they trademarking all their programs and stuff? And they don't, actually. You can steal any names you want from them.
We did I had a meeting with the tribe's legal department. They set it all up and for the Montana Lottery officials, very forthcoming with information. I think they're very helpful. So yeah, that I could see them helping us with basically learning lessons learned from them. We don't have to undergo, or at least we could alter our decisions based on what they've experienced already.
Go ahead.
My questions is for you guys would be, who's going to put up the $1 million, or is it going to fall on gaming? And do you want us to work on this while you guys are negotiating the compact? Because we won't be able to do this unless there's a compact. So that's one of the other things. And the other thing is, why can't besides just being on local reservation, why isn't the thought about all the other reservations? Probably not Browning because they wouldn't have a compact, but the other tribal reservations that have compacts, you could rope them in. And so I don't think, if we're going to look at this in a big way, we should look outside the other ways, not just localizing it, because if we want to make money, we need to also include the other tribes and to make it really profitable. But
I'm imagining that the price comes out of the sales. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, $1 million or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be $1 million. That's just the way they started this game out. Certainly their scratch tickets and those kind of things are different. I think that, you know what, when I look at the sales, it's incredible in the Billings area. So if there was a market that I'd want to tap into, it'd be that area over there. But I think what they were scared of is that we would do something on the internet and we'd have to try to geofence our sales somehow. And I think there's no limitations there for that. It's just they're worried about trying to contain it within the state of Montana. Then that would require them to geofence the state. I don't know. I might be talking illiterately about this as far as the electronic sales, but if there was a way that I would go, it would be, if I wanted to expand this, I would try to do online sales of a system like this, because then that really opens it up. And but I don't know if that's possible or not.
it should be able to, because if you look at Montana lottery for the millionaire or everything, those are also online. I mean, we need to have a really good technical person to assist us with how you're going to do it, because look at class 2. It's on the internet, kind of like on the internet. You're on a server and you're connected to other tribes via the server system and by cable lines. So, you know, it's working already. It's just how do you apply it to make sure it's going to work with your class 3 machines? Because Montana kind of has, you know, but if where there's a will, there's a way, and you just need to be not limiting ourselves to how this is going to work.
Well, I don't think I've ever heard anybody talking about limitations in a lot of ways. So, James?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate, Francine, your comment. I think in my mind, as we get started, then start looking at figuring out how do we incorporate maybe an opportunity of expanding into the different reservations with the compact. So I think that's a great idea. I think once we get going and figuring it out ourselves, and then figuring out how to branch out to those potentially those other reservations in Montana, I think it's a great idea.
What else? Go ahead, Tom.
Well, I would just assume that you guys would take it, research it all, and try to figure out the best way to go. But here's what I can tell you about at least the tribes in Montana. We have the best demographics. We have the best visitation. We exceed anything else that any other tribe has. So if there was a tribe to do this on a standalone, it certainly would be us. But if there's a way to increase the profitability or the success of the program to include other tribes that have, you know, a class 3 compact, then so be it. You know, I'll leave that up to you gambler professionals. I'm an amateur, you know, I mean, what do I know? I mean, give me a coin, let's do a heads out, you know, 50-50, you know.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about off-reservation sales, you know, this would be for the future. I agree with Tom's comment. It doesn't have to be $1 million right away. It can be something else. And most summers, I go to the folk festival in Butte. The Montana Lottery has a booth there. Thousands of people go to the Butte Folk Festival and they buy lottery tickets there. And they give out I think they give out t-shirts and like, it looks like guitar picks, but you can use them for scratch tickets. And, but I know they do a lot of business there. Selling lottery tickets to the people at the Butte Folk Festival. So there's opportunities like that in the summer around the state. I thought, I don't know, I don't know where else the Montana Lottery goes, but they actually have places, they show up at places where there's lots of people sell lottery tickets.
James, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a side story. 4 years ago, I was trying to reset my Montana Lottery app to check my tickets. It was in junk mail, you know, the password reset. So I went through my junk mail and, I had an email from the lottery in Helena. And I'm like, okay, is this spam or scam? So I called the number and I said, hey, didn't see this. It was from December. I said, I won a gift basket from the lottery. So am I still, oh yeah, you're still eligible. Big old box showed up from the Montana Lottery. It had shirts in it. It had all kinds of Montana Lottery swag and like $50 worth of scratchers, and one of them was $100. But yeah, this big old box showed up of swag that I guess I got drawn for because I scanned all those non-winning tickets and got entered into a drawing. Yeah, it was 6 months. It was June when I found that email, and it was in December of that prior year. I still got some of that stuff floating around. So anyway, just a side thing. Thank you.
Go ahead, Troy.
As from the board, our main concern was, we were concerned that the expectations were going to be this summer, we're going to have a lottery, but logistically speaking, that would have been a very difficult thing to pull off. There's just, we're kind of wading into this and feel much more comfortable after Tom's comments that you guys weren't expecting that, to go live this summer, because I think that would have been a difficult thing to pull off effectively. So that's all.
You couldn't get out the mimeograph machine and roll out the tickets?
Yeah, put some names in a hat.
Names in the hat stand.
What else, Brian?
Our last item, except for Councilman Steele's request, gaming would just like to ask for your assistance as the leaders of the tribe to help us have a meaningful engagement with Montana Department of Transportation on our traffic impact study. We submit the traffic impact study, and it often goes months before we receive any kind of response. We're on our third submission. I think we started in 2022. We actually, the first time we submitted, we just didn't reply back to their comments. But since July, we submitted something, and then we submitted again in September. Is our last submission. Up until this week, our submission in September had went unanswered. And even what they provided us in feedback was not comments to our traffic impact study. It was just more questions about the area surrounding. And so if we could have your assistance, whether it's a letter of support or how we engage MDT at this high level to start moving this along, it would be much appreciated.
Go ahead, Len.
I would suggest that the chairman send the MDOT director a letter and set up a meeting with him directly, face to face, either here or in Helena. I know we're going to be back and forth to Helena in the next couple of months, so maybe during that time we can find some time to meet with them. But this is an issue where we need to meet with them face to face. Otherwise, if we start this mail correspondence, there ain't nothing's going to happen. I think that's the route we need to be. We need to be direct with them. And during those discussions, we need to put timeframes on our objectives.
Mr. Chair, if I can make a comment, look, it's pretty clear to us what they want, okay? They want us to incur the cost for some sort of remediation as it comes to Rocky Point Road, you know, that intersection there where it's an accident waiting to happen. They would love to see us change our entrance, so we would be forced to have to incur the cost of doing that. Our argument is that problem was there long before any idea of a casino being up in that area, which is actually some distance from our proposed entrance anyway off of 93. So, but I think at the end of the day, that's really what this is about, is what they're figuring out a way to try to force us to be the ones to have to pick up the cost. It's always about money. Yeah, we'll definitely look at it, assisting you. Definitely. Thank you. Len?
Part of those discussions, I also want to include Big Arm and our proposed store in Elmo to make sure that they get it on their radars that they're going to be responsible for helping us fix those egress and ingresses issues with those properties. So
Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I think one thing that I'm pondering too is in Arley, you know, they have the, like two, I think of the crosswalks are, you know, when somebody goes up to push a button and it lights up. But my niece and them got hit at the one where it doesn't light up. And that's been 2 or 3 years ago, I think. And so, my mom and I were going through there at the one that doesn't light up, and there was Louis parked, and both mom and I both looked. Oh, hey, there's Louis, and shoom, right through. And he pulled us over. He said, "Didn't you see those people?" "No, we didn't. We saw you." And said, "Oh, hey, there's Louis." He said, "Well, people are going through there. They're not seeing people cross at that one without the light." And so I'm just thinking too, that might be a thought too, as we have these different crosswalks. You know, and I'm thinking of Elmo as well, and different places that there should probably be those crosswalks where they have that, you know, push a button and it lights up, because I know I noticed them when they're lit up. You can see, okay, there's somebody trying to cross, but you know, the one, Ronan right by the Dairy Queen the other night, didn't see this kid coming across all in dark clothes. It's poorly lit. Step on the brakes in the middle of rush hour traffic. Thank God I didn't hit a kid, but didn't see him. Didn't see him at all. He's all in dark clothes. The intersection's terrible. So that's another, you know, and that's over here too at the IGA, that the way that you have to kind of guess as to who's turning. Do we, anyway, sorry, that's another thing outside of this, but in terms
We
of the
have several
issue.
MDT.
Yeah, so in terms of the issue here of them wanting us to be able to compensate for that other, that's not even related to our development here. I mean, that issue's their problem minus us. I mean, why don't they fix it? Anyway, sorry.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Well, I think they should put a stoplight at Rocky Point Road, and then we can put a big billboard there to direct people to our casino. Seriously, that would be an easy fix. Just put a stoplight there, make people stop there so people from Rocky Point could get out. And, you know, and I've heard Len talk about kids trying to swim in Elmo, and it's so hard to get across the highway. There should probably be a stoplight in Elmo too. And again, there's another opportunity to put signage for our Big Arm property. We stop people, and then our future gas station there. Slow people down in Elmo, make them stop so kids can get across the road.
What else, Brian?
Just go back to James's question about our small gaming operations that we had. The company tabled or actually put an end to that concept a couple of years ago. We really wanted to focus on our Big Arm property. You know, we have some work to do even today to make Big Arm a profitable business venture for S&K Gaming. We've reduced the losses significantly year after year, and we are headed in the right direction, but that came with a focus on that property and how we develop it. And so we were beginning to spread our resources a little too thin and, you know, trying to expand at that point. So we shut it down and really focused on our Big Arm, the small operation that we currently have in our portfolio.
Is it something that could be revisited in the future?
I could put it on the agenda for the board.
There's that kind of interest, James?
Mr. Chair? Yeah, thank you. The other question that I've been asking Melissa is, you know, thinking of individual operators, trying to, you know, give them some opportunity of something. The other thing I've been wondering is about pull tabs. And so I've asked Melissa, and we're going to have a discussion next week about that. Is there, it looks like from what I read in IGRA, it has to be pull tabs, has to be connected to an already going class 2 operation. It can't be a standalone. And it looks like it's class 3 without that. So this morning I was emailing her. I said, so is it something we need to conclude in a compact? Because if there's not a class 3 or a class 2 operation, say at, you know, Doug's in Mission, is it, you know, class 3? If it's class 2, if there's, you know, if we had pull tabs up at the resort, it would be class 2. And then at the end of the section that she sent me, it's something that NIGC hasn't clearly defined at some point as to whether it looks like it's class 3 without class 2 machines. Should it be in a compact? So anyway, that's something I'm going to talk with her back next week. So to kind of figure out, is that something that, you know, if the ordinance has changed or regulations are mix and ticks, do we need to think about that? So I know when I mentioned it to Tara, she was like, well, I don't want to get into it because it's all kinds of extra work, but I'm trying to think, is it a possibility, you know? Anyway, thank you.
Go ahead, Francie.
It's kind of, yeah, it's kind of mixed up, but my understanding as how it is viewed, if you have live bingo, you can sell pull tabs, or if you're at a powwow, you can have pull tabs. That's the only time I've been able to sort it out, because it's, like you said, it's class 2, but then other places it's considered class 3. And I think if you don't have any of those going on, then it probably falls under class 3. But that's what about all the years I've been in, that's where
You know, along with this, the discussion of a compact, I guess we'd like to get update on from you. Do we know where we're at with the governor's office in terms of any kind of advancement in a meeting on the compact with you and Gianforte's administration?
He sounded quite positive on the last thing that was presented, right? Do we
Okay.
have a timeline?
Melissa would be the one that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can find that out. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I'd love to be party to the conversation with the Department of Transportation whenever we set that up. And I think Glenn's right. We're going to be over in Helena a lot. And yeah, it's exactly what I was fearing that they would try to do with us. But that Rocky Point turnoff has needed its own remedy since I lived out there, which is a long time ago. So then if you look at what's happening on our road, maybe they see that all of Van Vo's property or all that property out there has been subject to subdivision now. So the whole ranch is for sale. So that's all that Urban Flats Road. And that could be, there could be 100 homes out there in 5 years if the sales go through, if they can find groundwater. But that's, there could be a lot more traffic on that road going to our new facility than we think. It surpassed our visitation.
Go ahead, Len.
I think our argument could be is, if they can put 2 roundabouts in Poplar, Montana, you can certainly think about putting a roundabout out here. You know,
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Happy New Year.
As we move out of the shareholders, then we go back and.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. If there's nothing else for shareholders, we'll go out of shareholders into regular session. And we have a request to waive the 3% tribal preference fee. Motion by Len, second by Tom. All in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your guys' time. Oh, they approved the audit in the shareholder. Thank you. I think we're good.
And that extra money is going to go towards charging stations, just so you know.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Tom McDonald.
Can we go back into executive?
We'll go out of regular into executive. Got a question of entertaining a contract here. Motion by James. Second by Jennifer to approve a contract with Rob McDonald as Communications Director. All in favor? Unanimous.
All right, well, thank you.
Go ahead, Tom.
Is the reception still going, talking about Helena, is it going to be at the golf course again?
Same place, yep. Yeah, and
So you'll bring in a redundant PA system?
yes, we got backup just in case.
That was, yeah, probably the most difficult part of it.
I'm not quite sure what prompted the transition to do you know, James?
Well, I don't know the transition, but they went out of business. They've gotten bought again. So now they're in a position where the new owners are trying to get it open again. So I know that was part of it is they got sold, they stopped business. And from what I read last year, somebody else bought them and now they're trying to get started again. So that was my understanding on that regard.
Jennifer?
I say Rob could probably answer that question because he was there when we done the transition. But I know it was a whole bunch of different parties going on at the same time. And so then Rob had to find a new place.
Thank you, Jordan.
All right, well, thank you guys.
Chair,
James.
I request executive session with just Jordan.
We'll go out of regular into executive.